Welcome back to Shaman King 2021 Anime Review Episode 17. This is reviewing the 17th episode of the anime Angel Pistol. Episode picks up where we left off last week. Now, in case you're curious though, what chapters have from the manga? This one, 101 to 105. Anybody thinking, wait, didn't the anime already start doing 101 last week? It did. It put that back. It actually readapted it again. No really change there, and goes from that point forward to get chapter 105, which 5 chapters is pretty decent amount for what they covered here. Like how more left at this point? 195. Though they still haven't adapted chapters 2 through frickin' 3 through 5. Yeah, for some reason they didn't adapt these chapters. Maybe they might adapt them later. Pick up left off last week where Ryu's taking on Boris and talk about his best place. And then we have a flashback. Yes, a flashback to when he got trained. Because eventually he was trained by Yo's grandfather. So he asks Yo's grandfather to train him. He says, no. And kicks him out because he's basically wanted for popularity. And, of course, basically gets locked up the house. And then Teruguma shows up. Yeah, his guardian spirit shows up again. Where he chats with him for a bit, that reveals that his grudge against Akamaru is gone, completely gone. He basically no longer has a grudge against him, and then of course basically Yo's father basically keeps telling his own father, who is Yo's grandfather, just train the guy already. It's like not yet, and then of course eventually he succumbs to it after he basically collapses in the rain, and of course Ryu wakes up. Is he in front of Yo's house? No, he's in the middle of he's basically wakes up on top of a rock. And then, of course, he has to go to this particular top of this mountain, though he points to a bridge. But basically, he has to get top of this mountain. And apparently, this mountain basically, there's a history behind it. A little bit later. Yo's father shows up a lot in this episode. There's also frequent gags, basically, of Yo's grandfather asking Yo's father, Mr. Kusa, I think his name is, ask him, please take out your mask wearing inside. He says, nah, basically it's fine. Of course, he asks him repeatedly. In the manga, he doesn't ask that at all. In the anime, he does. Eventually, after a long period of time, after Ryu apparently loses his 70s garb and gets to the top, they basically explain that this mountain basically, apparently there's a mythological beast buried here. Apparently was killed centuries ago. And then of course he trains to become a shaman. Get back to present day where he defeats Boris. And then he collapses. And then of course you have him like he's like dying but not there yet. And then Yo basically goes to question him about Ho. And then the guy is stabbed in the freaking chest by a giant sword from this metal robot angel known as Michael. You're probably thinking, what's all this about? It's a debut of the X-Laws in the anime. Yes, the X-Laws. Oh boy, these people. Like, wow. Like, I remember these guys from the original anime. And, oh boy, their leader is completely unlikable, just like he was in the original one. Though, and of course, Rin figures out though that, oh yeah, these people got a backer. Who? And of course now Hiraho basically doesn't remember them. They cut the little explanation of Ren remembering these guys from the plane. They also, I forgot to mention it before I continue here, there's a flashback for Ryu within the flashback, where he's flashback when he was in school. In the manga, there's actually nobody in the hallway. In the anime, they put some students there, some random students. They probably figured, though, why not just throw some kids in here? Because this is clearly a high school. Why not have kids basically chat in the hallway? And from my perspective as a fan, like, that's fine. I don't think even the people who read the manga have a problem with that at all. I'm sure some people originally read the chapter years ago, given the fact it's been over 20 years since the original chapter was released. Here I go, okay, this is a hallway. Why isn't there any students here? That's a very good question. Yeah. And then, of course, well, I'm trying to think what was his name. He's the leader of the X-Laws. I have looked at this guy's name because I completely forgot the guy's name. Mm-hmm. Marco. Yes, Marco. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they also have various subordinates in here. Who some of these now Marco himself did appear in the original anime. Yes, he did, along with his boss, Iron Maiden Genie. Here in the anime, she's made one cameo appearance, like 2 episodes back, and like a few episodes back, and that's all been it for her. Because well, she appears a little more. I'm hoping she appears a lot more in this anime than she gets a lot more to do here. She does appear in this episode. Well, for good reason. She's not in the actual chapter. So kudos for the anime basically not including a character who has not actually been fully introduced yet. So good job for them for that. And of course, Mark introduces subordinates and apparently just all of his angels. And they go inside because they follow, because apparently they're after Ho. They'll say they use the root of evil. I think in the manga it's the root of all evil, but basically he is root of evil. They go inside the Patch Tribe village, and then they come across 2 more followers of Ho's, where like the big football one of them attacks them. They easily taken out. Though the thing is, Yo, who saw these guys killed the vampire, figured though, don't need to kill the guy. You beat him. Don't need to kill him. And he actually tries to fight the lead. He's trying to fight Marco, gets his sword broken, but he's perfectly fine afterwards. And then the episode ends very interestingly with Menta, Anna, and Tamiko arriving at the Patch Village. It's like, about time they got here. And they land. Of course, they're there with, I think it's supposed to be Menta's butler or whatever. And then someone says, I can help you. And then Anna turns her head, and it's Ho! Yep. And that's where the episode ends. I'm like, that's interesting. They mentioned this guy several times in the episode. Here he is. Yep. I gotta say, great episode. Yep. I love the fact we finally get a chance to explore Ryu's, well, his training in a flashback, which I thought that was really nice. The changes they, oh yeah, by the way, the change they made with with Borsky and stabbed with a sword, they changed the angle of it, because in the manga you actually saw from behind Yo, and then of course there's the angel stabbing him. In the anime, you see it from Yo's left side, where bam, the sword comes completely out of nowhere and stabs Boris right to the freaking heart. Yeah, I appreciate that change. That's a good, shocking reveal. That was actually very good on the anime to do that, because I think the way the manga presented the scene was a bit lame. Like, oh look, there's a guy who just like walks up beside him. Apparently, I think it's done for dramatic value, which I don't personally mind at all. Nope. Mark, of course, is still written to be completely unlikable, but at least we don't have his English dub actor who also voiced Kaiba. See, in the original dub for the series, he's voiced by the same guy who voiced Kaiba. At times, the way he was performing the character, it's almost like he was about to summon the blue-eyed white dragon. The way his dialogue was read by 4 kids, it's like, okay, if you're gonna play Kaiba, play Kaiba. Don't play this character like Kaiba. At least that the sub presents him like the manga does. Or he's a very arrogant person. I like the X-Law's suits. They're fine. But I'm not really a big fan of Marco. The leader, I have no problem with her. She's a pretty interesting character. Marco, don't like him because he's annoying, and the fact that he basically is very trigger happy. Yeah. But it's great. We finally got a chance to see the X-Laws. 17 episodes in, which in the manga, you have to wait even longer. Like, they don't show up at the chapter 103. That's the first time we see the X-Laws in the manga. I think in the original anime. Like, when was the first time they actually appeared, I wonder? Because I think they show up in episode 17. I don't think so, no. Let's see. No, I think it was actually a lot later when they first introduced them. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to look up and see about the original anime. Like, when was the first one they actually? I mean, Liza didn't first appear in the anime until episode 27. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see. In the case of the X laws, let's see. I'm looking to see exactly like when was the first time they actually appeared. Okay, the first appearance was actually in episode 35. Well, actually, it was 36. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 35 is when they show up. Like, wow, I at least gotta praise this anime for this. At least you have to wait 35 episodes in for their debut. This is roughly like 18 episodes before their debut in the original anime. Yeah, I'm sure that my friend Chris and Prince basically be like, really? They show up in episode 17, not 35 like the original anime? Yeah, probably because they didn't drag on stuff very much. Yep. But aside from the few changes, they stick to the manga pretty closely, which I at least got to praise the anime for doing that. Yep. So yeah, that's it for particular review. Stay tuned for Fairy Tail if I get a chance to do it today. Okay, next video. Bye.